So I tried to send out an email, but just so you, a quick announcement, DigiKey is going to be on campus on Tuesday here, and then doing interviews on Wednesday. So, and we scheduled their presentation for right after this class, assuming that all of you would want to go get free pizza right after this class. So one of the worst things I have to do is sit in a room with an employer like DigiKey with only 2 or 3 other students and 5 pizzas there and talk to them about that. So it's really nice if we have lots of students eating the pizza, even if you might not want to be working exactly for DigiKey. It is good to hear from other employers and things like that. So please keep that in mind. So DigiKey Tuesday, right after this class, up in 3141 here. So also, this is the time of year where a lot of companies are starting to do their summer 2026 internships posting. So I just started to post some of these, particularly for companies that we've worked with before, like Securian is, I believe, hiring internships. Clara, one of our alumni, I think will be in Duluth in the coming weeks to talk about that. Yeah, Medtronics, we've had alumni work there. That's a huge thing here. Yeah, Thomson Reuters, Polaris, Post, consumer brands. You wouldn't think, a company that makes Raisin Bran would be the best tech company in the world. But one thing you find in Minnesota is that the companies like manufacturers and stuff that are survived the last 50 years, they've survived largely because they have great tech. So things like Post, companies, Land O'Lakes, companies like that, they treat their employees well and they have really strong tech there. So consider working for that. I know students who have done internships at those and been impressed. So, okay. Let's get started today. I want to try to get through the learning activity today, and we're going to make this simple currency converter, and we're going to try to do it in Java and in Kotlin. That's going to be a lot to do today, so I'm not quite sure how far we have. So I put it all out there, and then we'll see by the end of class how far we get. We might cut back on the requirements for this as we go. So let's look at the learning activity here. I'm recording this video. I'll post that here. But again, this is just a normal thing. We just wanted to say currency to converter. We want to have a spot, a label that says dollars, and then a spot to enter the dollars, and a button. If you hit this button, it'll convert it to euros. Over here, we have the word euros, the label, and then again, an area where you can type in the amount of euros and hit $2, and it'll convert it to dollars there. So that's kind of the layout. So we're going to do this in Java. So I'm running Android Studio. I'm going to do a new project. I'm going to do an empty views project. I have to do, in this one, I have to do a views project because this will be in Java. So empty, the first top one is for Kotlin, the bottom one is for Java. So empty views project, give it some name. Oh, Java currency converter. I like to just simplify the package name. That's not really required, but I like to do that. Okay, location's fine. Language, make sure the language is at Java here for that. And again, I do these for Android 10, API 29. Again, those should be all consistent. So basically just the name, and if you want to change the package, and make sure it's in Java language. And we'll generate this up here. But again, it's going to be building for a little while, so but it should open up your layout file, the activity main.xml file, and then the main activity.java file will be up here for us. And we're going to want to do the layout first for this. So let's go into that activity main.xml file. And again, it's still syncing, so this will be a while. Now, one thing just keep in mind, and you may want to just open this up, is that at the bottom is the GitHub repo for this completed project here. So you can see that. So it's the main folder. You go into apps, you go into source, and you go into main, neither of the test folders. And then there's the resource folder and then the Java folder here. So you can see the different files there. Again, in this one, this is a learning activity. We want to learn how to set this up here. And there's, of course, going to be some stuff where that we're still learning. There's a lot of stuff we'll be throwing at you this first couple weeks. So, okay, here's my layout for this. And I want to change it so it looks somewhat like this. I want a label at the top, and then I want dollars and euros here. So I'm going to start, this is hello world. I'm just going to move that up to the top here and make it say currency converter. So under its text. So again, you can go through and change this. I want that up there. Now, under common, you'll see most of the stuff we want probably. So text view is for viewing text, not for entering text. So I want one that says dollars and one that says euros. So I'm going to grab two text views and put them on the screen. Now under text, there is a plain text text view here, or if I'm going to enter a number, there's a number one. So I'm actually going to go down here to the number one and grab that and put that. So that'll be a box where I can enter a number here. So again, I want those both on my screen. Again, so that'll be this. I've got this top label, a label or text view here, this edit text values here for entering the numbers. And then I need two buttons below that. So I'm going to grab two buttons and put that down here. Now I'm just going to try to run this on my phone to show you what happens and why we have to connect everything together here on my phone. So it looks fine on my screen, but again, these are not constrained, so they're all going to float up and to the left of the screen on my actual phone for this. So let me build this and stuff. Now you might not be able to run this. We want to get this set up for a you might have to go and set up your device here and get that working. So I don't know if you have an emulator working yet or a device, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But okay, let's see if this, this is still building. I always forget how long it takes the first build to run. No. While we're waiting for that, so what you do want to do is that on each of these, like this text view, we want to tie it so it's under the currency view. So I'm going to grab this little arrow and connect it to this there. And then again, this, I'm going to connect it to here. And then I can move them both down a little bit And same left to right. I want to connect them to each other and to the sides of the screen so that they are kind of in the middle. Oops, let's see. Yeah, there. Okay, let's see. Yeah, here's my view. Uh here's my phone. Why didn't it get refreshed? Again, there. So even though I had this layout, you notice that everything got pushed up in the upper. So all the buttons are on top of each other. All the labels and stuff are on top of each other here on my screen. So that's why we have to do what we call constrain these things. We have to tell them vertically it wants to be below this and this one. Now, another thing you can do as far as vertical is if you want to be at the same level as this, I can connect this to over here to say be at the same level as the one to the left of it. So then if I move the one to the left, the one to the right will also move because I have them connected. So that's what we often do. Often what I'll do is like with the layout of this, I'll connect the left one to the right spot, and then the right one, I will do the top to the top of the left one. So if I move the left one, the right one also moves. And again, we'll want to connect these together and to the edge of the screen generally so that they stay on, on the screen. Same with these. I'm going to make these a little smaller actually. And again, connect these together. Okay, now I'm going to rerun this and see if we can get that to look. So again, it was like this. We'll see if it'll run better now. So now the layout is much better. I have currency converter, my text views up here, my buttons are laid out there. Now, if you don't want to worry too much about this, again, they're in GitHub. If I wanted to see that under resources, layout, here's the XL main, and this is the a sample layout. So you could actually copy that. If you're having trouble, you could copy that and paste it in here. Remember, in your view up here at the top right, there's a XML view here, and you can just edit it in XML view format here also. Or you can actually see both side by side. Okay. I want to change some of this text here. Like this one, we wanted to say, let's see, we wanted that to say dollars up there. So this one, I'm going to change the text field to dollars. And this one should say euros. Again, as far as the layout goes, if I click on a text view or whatever, there's these text appearance, and I should be able to click on those and choose some standard sizes for things here. So like a title text, maybe I can add that. Oops, that's not the right size. They've been moving to this material 3 stuff recently. That's the new material layout, and I'm just not familiar with that and how it should be. Let's try this. There. I found title or headline large here for that. So again, you don't need to worry about that. You can just leave them as, but if you want to try to play with the text appearance a little bit, you can for this. Now, the last thing we want to do as far as the layout is we need to give everything IDs, or at least the things that we need to access in the code have to have an ID. So in our code, these text fields, we have to be able to read and write to those. And these buttons, we have to put code for these buttons here. So we'll want to make sure for each one of those, we type in an ID. So if I click on one and go up here, this one says edit text number. I'm going to say edit text and call this dollars. Oops. And sometimes I just call it text, txt dot or dollars. Sometimes I do edit text. Again, you can figure out that how you want to use that label. And then again, this is another edit text, and this will be edit text euros. I'm gonna keep my capitalization consistent here. And same with my buttons here. I want it to be like button €2. And this button will be, and again, I want the text on that to also say €2. So let's see where that is. And this one will be $2. And the ID will be button $2. We don't necessarily have to have these labels, don't all have to have IDs, because again, we're not going to adjust those in the code. But the edit text fields and the buttons we do need here. Now, on the left, I'm going to be watching, it's not uncommon to have little warnings here. One of the problems is we've hard-coded this in English here in the XML file, and generally we want to pull that out into its own string file. So like this currency converter, that's our title here, and it's saying hard-coded text. Click on the badge for details. If I click on that, it'll say, over here, it should say hard-coded text. Let's see, where is that? For that. If I switch, I'm going to switch into XML mode and see that here. So again, I have all these hard-coded like currency converters here. I have that. And it should offer me a suggestion to extract that as a string resource. And I can say yes, and it'll create a name, currency converter, and do that. I can change this name to maybe like app title if I want. Or I could leave it as currency converter here. And what that's going to do is in my files here, under resources, under values, there's a strings.xml file, and it'll put my strings in there for it. And what we'll see later on is for localization, to get this in other languages, I can just have multiple string files with named in different ways, and it'll automatically translate my app in different languages. So that's why you'll see all these warnings about hard-coded files. And again, you can go through these all and just if you want, just click on them, and you just want to get rid of the warning, say extract string resource and say okay for those. I'm not going to do it for all of those right now. But just so, and again, it'll fill up your strings.xml file with those values. Okay. So we've done the layout here. We've got it basically working. Now we're going to do some coding here. So we're going to switch to the Java main activity.java file and start putting some code. We have our main activity, we have onCrate, and in onCrate here, we're going to put most of our coding in here. Inside onCrate. Although at the top, we're going to want to do some variables up there. So let's see what we have. We're going to need, again, some edit text variables and 2 buttons here. So up here, we're going to want to declare our variables. We'll want to have an edit text. We'll have to import that class. And we'll want some variable for the euros and some variables for the dollars. So again, in our layout here, we have these 2 edit texts. One is where we enter the dollars and convert it to euros, and one is where we enter the euros and convert it to dollars. And then we'll need 2 buttons similarly. So we have our edit texts here, and then we're going to add 2 buttons. I'm gonna follow I'm just gonna copy this here because I want to keep the names the same spaces in here. So again, we're gonna want to do 2 buttons here, and the buttons we're gonna have to import that class too. So up at the top, it'll import Android widget button and Android widget edit text for these. So now I have variables to do that. Now I have to tie it to the UI in my onCrate. So let's tie the first one, edit text euros, or I mean dollars. And I'm going to use, we have to find it in the UI. And so it's find view by ID, and then it is r dot ID dot edit text dollars, or whatever you called it for this. And I'm going to do the other one. And there's pretty good autocomplete. I'm noticing, so sometimes, oh, I know, I don't have Gemini enabled, I think. Sometimes it'll actually fill in much better autocomplete for you, but I bet I don't have Gemini enabled yet on this stuff. So if I want to get Gemini enabled on this, I'm going to go over to the right here where it says things like, well, one of the things is Gemini. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to just sign in to Google. I'm going to sign in with my CSS email and say allow. Now on campus, or currently with your CSS email, you can't access Gemini directly, but we can access it through the API here. So you can use your CSS email fine. So now it'll go back here. Now I want to make sure I authorize it. You must be 18 years or older. I want to do that. And then I want to hit add next. And then you want to use Gemini for individuals here. And then say next. And then say next. And then use all Gemini features and do that for all your projects, because then it'll be able to read your whole project context and work on that and hit finish. So we want to do that. All Gemini features. Okay. So now when I do autocomplete, it'll probably do a little better job here. So now let's do the buttons. I'm going to go button. And again, it's filling in button convert, this whole thing. So I just start typing B and it said, oh, you want to do the buttons, and it'll fill in the code for the buttons, which is basically, again, this code. Oops. It should fill in this code here for us automatically. Okay, I'm gonna pause, see how we're doing. I'll wander around. Okay, so we want to create a new device, a Pixel 3. So I'm going to go add a new, so I'm over here in the device manager, add a new device, create a virtual device. I'm going to, again, you can do any one. I think the Pixel 3 is it's not a big image there, and but it has some nice features. So I'm going to do a Pixel 3. And then I'm going to do API Android 10 and open source and this x86-64. So I'm going to make sure this is on open source, and this should be on Android 10 there. And I'm going to choose this one, the 64-bit version of this. So again, I switched this to Android 10, this to open source, and I chose this one. I'm going to hit finish. It's going to download this image again, and it's only 600 meg, which isn't bad, better than 1.8 gig. And then it'll download that image here and set up your thing. Okay. I'm going to hit cancel here because I have already done that. And then once you get that running, this will be your emulator here. You can hit run, and then under running devices, it'll run the emulator. So here's my emulator running. And then up here, it'll run it on the emulator. I'm going to stop it so it's not running on my phone and run it on the emulator now, and it'll show up here. Okay. So you should be able to get it to run in their emulator, hopefully. Again, I don't know how long the download is going to take. So let me pause this again and see how we're doing. Okay, keep going. Hopefully we've got an emulator working. We have our code here. But again, when we run our buttons, we can type in some numbers here. Let's say I have $34. I want to convert that to euro. It doesn't actually do anything yet because the buttons aren't configured. So the next thing we want to do is just do the button configuration. So here's a generic button configuration that I can put in here. And I can paste that in here. And I think if I just start typing button here and hit enter, so maybe I did tab. Um, tab. I guess it's not filling in everything. I thought it was filling the whole button configuration there. But this is a standard boilerplate for a button here. So here's my €2 button. So I have my dollars. I want to convert it to euro. I need a view, so I have to make sure I import that. A view is just like a screen or a shortcut for a part of my app kind of idea here. And so it's getting and it gets the on click. So I'm just saying on my button, I'm going to set the on click listener. I'm going to define the on click button here. And here's my code for the button here. So again, I can do things like I can just set the text. Maybe I wanted to set the Euro text to get started. I could say edit text set text to, well, it's actually trying to do the whole thing. I'm going to shortcut and say testing. And I'm going to rerun this in my emulator. I'm not sure if that's going to, I think this only displays numbers right now. So I'm not actually sure that'll work. Let's see. It's still rerunning this. It's not the quickest here. Okay, come on. Huh, my whole emulator restarted. That's interesting. Okay, we'll try this again. So now if I hit the €2 button, it'll put 999 over here for this. But again, I don't want to do that. I want to get the text from here. It'll be a string. I'm going to convert that to a double. I want to then convert that to a double euro, and then I want to convert that to a string. So here's the code I generally use for that. And again, this might have to change a little bit. So I'm going to grab my edit text dollars. I'm going to get the text, convert it to a string here. When you call get text, doesn't actually give it to you in a Java string. I forget what other format, but has a mother format. So I can convert it to a string here. So this is my, so whatever I've entered here, will be that. And then I'm going to take that string and convert it to a double. So I'm going to say double parse double and do that. And then once I have that dollar amount as a double, I'm going to convert it to a euros with some factor here. And again, in a perfect world, I would be grabbing that from the website with the actual exchange rate. I wouldn't be hard coding in the conversion rate in here, but we're just doing this right now. And then finally, I want to set the edit text here. I want to set that. And here's my number format. I'm going to import that here. Yeah, let's do that one, I think. And number format, I can get a currency format in euros automatically for that. So it'll format it in euros for me here. So now if I have that, rerun this, hopefully I can enter some euros. Let's say I have $50. I'm going to convert it to euros. That's 42.5 euros. And why did it put a dollar sign there? That's interesting. Huh. I would have expected it to format it with the euro sign there. So I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Oh, interesting. And so now that's one button I want to do the other button the same way. I want to format button convert here for this. And again, I can actually, well, yes, grab this whole button convert, put it in here and swap it around. I want to do this to be my convert $2 button. On click, click, or on click. And now I want to switch this around. My string is going to be my euro string. And I'm going to get the text from the euros. Convert it to a double, and that'll be my euros. And then I'm going to calculate my dollars. And convert it the other direction. And then I'm going to set my dollars, edit text dollars to that amount. And use that. Oh, I know, because so I'm just using the euros was the variable name, not the format type. Because yeah, that's okay. I can see why I'm not getting the euros there now. That makes sense. Okay. So hopefully I've done this the other way. So now if I go, well, I have to rerun my app, but now if I go in my app and enter the euro side of things, if I have 50 euros converted to dollars, I have $58. Here. Again, if you want, you can go into the GitHub at the bottom of this, or after at the end of the Java section is this. And again, in there I can go to app source main Java and look at the main activity here and see what that is. Now, just note, you might be calling your button something different here, and your edit text, I mean, when you do find view by ID, this has to match. But you can look at this, you can see what my variables were called, and then what code we have set up. So feel free to look at that and see how that looks. So see if you can get this working so that either way you can convert euros to dollars or dollars to euros. Now, we're not doing any error checking. So if I type in something wrong, like here, if I type in hi, I can't even type in a number because I didn't make it a number. One of the things I did do, not luckily there, is when I did my layout here, I used the number layout, so it will automatically only let me enter numbers into there. And so that helps with some of the error checking for this. So, okay, we'll see how that goes. See if you can save this and get it to work, and then we'll try to get the Kotlin version working in a sec. Okay, one thing I've seen a couple people run into is we're not doing any error checking here. So if I enter dollars, like $50 and convert to euros, it'll put it here. But now if I try to convert that to dollars, it's going to crash. And the reason is that there's a dollar sign in here. And then so it's going to try to parse this as a number, but it doesn't know how to do that with the dollar sign there. So if I hit this, it'll crash for that. Because again, and we actually have some technical debt in here where I'm saying we should check if the string is parsable and also like remove the dollar signs and stuff from that. So we have some technical debt in here that we're just going to ignore there. But it does work if I just type in something and convert to dollars, or the other way, but I just have to make sure I remove that dollar sign back and forth. So it's, again, whenever that dollar sign's there, that causes some problems. So just be aware of that. That's now a feature of our app for that. So, okay. We'll try to move on to Kotlin in just a little bit here. Yeah, so it's still not working. So that's right. So when you run this, oh yeah, okay, right. So now, and then notice the layout here. So like it is, this is folding up at the top. So we want to tie that and tie that in here. And then like this, the dollars and euros that are on each other. So you have it tied here, but you don't have it tied left to right. So you're going to want to tie that over here, here, and tie the two together, and you want to tie this edge. Now, if you rewrite this, hopefully will, yeah, again, you'll probably play with, it looks like these two are on top of each other too. So you've got, and the two buttons are probably on top of each other. So again, work on the layout a little bit. So, let's see. So which one you're converting the $2 one, is that right? Okay, so you are grab. So I think you have your so like put a number here and now hit $2. No. I think you have your button swapped. So I think if you type in there and hit that button, it'll put the text there. So you have them crisscrossed. It's fine. That's just, there. Okay. So you have the code in each one different. Okay. Okay, 11 o'clock. Here, we're not doing bad today for this stuff. So again, let me, where am I here? Oh yeah, we're still recording. Okay. So this is Java again. So we have a main activity.java file and we have an XML layout file here. We're going to try to do the Kotlin version of it, and it's all going to, the layout and the code is all going to be in one file for that. So that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to look at this Kotlin version of it. So let's look at that. I'm going to save everything. I think it's all set. I'm just going to close this project. Turn my app. Okay, and I'm going to do a new project. And again, this time I can do this empty activity at the top. Do next. Give it some name. And this will be our Kotlin version of it. And again, since we did empty activity, it doesn't even ask us a language. It assumes we're doing it in Kotlin because it's using what is called Jetpack Compose for this stuff. So, yeah. I hit okay. It should start up my project here. Now the emulator should probably still be running. So if I click over here to the emulator, it should still be running there, which is good. There. So I'll keep that open there. Eventually it'll clean up this project view, switch it to an Android view in a little bit. It's still building, so we'll give it a little time here. And let's jump back to our code. So again, we're going to change our functions and set up the way our functions are set up. We have our main activity here, and then we have two composable functions here, greeting and greeting preview. We're going to change those. We're going to just do a composable, a currency converter function here. So I'm going to just delete these composable functions and replace them. So the first one is going to be my currency converter screen. This is where basically where my app is going to be there. So that's that. And then I'm going to call this from a preview area. So I'm going to add the preview below that. And it's going to call, we got some spaces in here. Okay. It's going to call my currency converter screen here. Also, I want to set this up so that up here, I'm also calling the currency converter screen for that. So the currency converter, this is put on my app code here. So this will be where my app code is for this. And I'll want to call here. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, I see the problem. Interesting. I didn't make this public on GitHub, so I've got to change this so that you can see the GitHub project. I was just noticing. So, okay, let me just switch this, make it public. Okay. I was kind of trying to look at this. I'm doing something wrong here. Oh, I wonder if I have to have a text field in there. Getting some errors. We'll see if we can clean those up in a sec. There. Okay. I'm going to go back to this stuff and see where we're at. Okay. So we're going to want our currency converter screen, and we want our preview function here set up that runs our currency converter screen. And now we're going to add a column and a text field. So again, we have to do our layout, which is basically vertical. But then inside that, we're going to have a row with two columns in it. So we have a column, a row, and then two columns within that. So I'm going to try to get that set up here. So that's all going to be here for this. So I'm going to make a column. And inside my column, I'm going to want, I'll just put a text for my header. And it keeps, I'm going to want, if you don't have imports, it likes to put the full thing there, but I'm going to do this text and just do currency converter. Let's see, I'm still running into problems. I'm going to try to figure out what this error is here. Oh, I think I know what my problem is that this code is specific to the name of the app. Yeah.